Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the monopoly market structure. So first we will see what are the features of monopoly market structure. The monopoly market structure, there is only one seller. It's a basic feature of monopoly structure. The second is barriers on entry. It can be either legal or natural barriers, right? Then the next feature is there are no substitutes for the product they are selling. It means it is identical product they are selling, right? No substitutes available in the market. The next feature is firm and the industry thus have single identity because one seller is there. So the industry and the firm is both are same. The next one is price discrimination. Because of one seller is there in the structure, that seller has more power, so they can discriminate the price to different geographical areas or depend on various reasons. Then we will see what are the reasons for market power of monopoly. One is economies of scales. Second, product differentiation and brand loyalty. Third is ownership or control over key factor and wholesale or retail outlets they own. Consumer lock-in, high surge or switching and initiation cost. Legal protection. Network externalities means the product's value rises as more consumers use it. The mergers and takeovers. Then another kind of aggressive tax. Then we will see what is the average and marginal revenue under monopoly. In the case of monopoly, one firm constitutes the whole industry, right? Since the demand curve of the consumers for a product slopes downward, right? The monopolist faces a downward sloping demand curve. As usually, the demand curve of the monopoly market structure is also downward sloping demand curve. Demand or AR curve. Then we will see how to design the equilibrium point in the monopoly structure. You know the monopoly, the equilibrium rule is the MR equal MC, right? As usually it is MR equal MC. It's not changing, so MC curve should cut the MR curve in this case also. Let's see what. Now this is demand curve and MR curve. You can draw this line. Then your MC curve in a monopoly, it's also not changed, right? It is a normal MC curve like a right. Then you can see the point where MR curve and MC curve equals or intersects. So this is the point. So through this point you can find the price they charge. So this is the equilibrium point, right? MR equal MC. This is the equilibrium of the monopoly firm. So according to the monopoly equilibrium point, they are selling this much of quantity to the market. You have name it as Q2, quantity 2. This much of quantity they are producing into the market, and if you go up straightly to the MR curve, you can find the MR value here, right? And if you draw this line straight up to the demand curve, there you can find price they charge. So here you can see this kind of features looking at this graph. MR and A are really steep. When you are drawing this diagram, actually you have to make sure that your MR and AR curves or demand curves to be really steep. And they are getting profit, higher profit with lower output, because their MC is here. Finally they charge price at here, so they are taking this much of profit. So profit with lower output. The point B is where the MC and MR equals the maximum point. Point B, both short run and long run equilibrium, since no other company can enter the market. So in the long run and short run, they face this kind of behavior in the market. So we do not need to have two analysis like long run and short run, because both are same, because no entry the long run. I'll show you the graph again. It's normal profit situation of a monopoly. So their special feature is their price they charge, it's equal to the AC. So there are no additional profits or abnormal profits. Only normal profit they can earn. They just cover up their average cost from the profit, right? And there are another situation of a monopoly regarding it is abnormal profit. Abnormal profit of a monopoly, the same diagram we can use MC curve, say AR curve, MR curve, and you can find the equilibrium point where MC equals MR as usually to find the equilibrium point, and through that you can straight forward the line to demand curve to find the price they charge, and the quantity they are selling is this much. In this case, when they are earning abnormal profits, definitely their AC curve should be more below than the price they charge. So their AC curve look like this, right? If their AC curve goes below their demand curve, then definitely their AC will be here. So to sell this much of quantity, if you straight forward this line to AC curve, see this is the point AC intersect to this line, then you can draw this line up to the vertical axis and find the AC they charge. This is the AC, their cost, average cost. But they are charging this much of price. It's very higher than the cost of a product. So this area, the additional area or difference between the price and the cost, they earn abnormal profit. This is abnormal profit they earn. The total revenue will be this much. Total revenue will be this much. Through this revenue, they have to cover up this much of cost. This much of cost. But beyond that, what they earn is abnormal profit. Okay. And there can be also losses, even abnormal losses. In that case, the same diagram but AC curve, it goes more upper than their demand. You can see here the average cost curve, it lies more upper part of the diagram, even upper to their demand curve, then the average cost will be higher. You can find the equilibrium point where MC equal MR here. Through that, you can draw up this line straight to the AC to find the cost. So you can see the cost is higher than the price they charge. So they are charging this much of price, so their revenue will be this much, but their cost is higher. The additional cost you can't cover up will cause to a loss. We call that this the abnormal loss in the monopoly. This the abnormal loss. So accordingly, you can see three types of profit. It's a normal profit, abnormal profit, and abnormal losses, right? Then we will see what are the advantages and disadvantages of a monopoly market structure. The advantages are economies of scales. They are producing in large bulk. They can earn economies of scales as they are the one seller in the market and they are producing in the large scale. Another advantage is their average cost per unit is very low, lower cost. And competition for corporate control. Innovations and new products can be there also. It's one another advantage. Then looking at the disadvantage, the monopoly market structure, as they are the only seller, they have more power, so they charge higher price for lower output. It may be a disadvantage for the customer's point of view. Also, possibility of higher cost due to lack of competition. An unequal distribution of income, unfair trade practices. These are the advantages and disadvantages of a monopoly structure. There is another disadvantage, exploitation of consumers, because one and only seller is the monopoly seller. Therefore, no substitutes available for the consumers. They cannot change their taste, or they cannot shift in between the products. So the monopoly seller try to exploit the consumers' rights. Also, the restricted scope to R&D. R&D means research and development. Very few research and developments could be there. Then we will see the price discrimination, as we already discussed. This is one of the feature of a monopoly structure, price discrimination. So what is this? When a firm sells its products to its customers of different profile at different prices, the same product but different prices with no corresponding change in the cost. Actually the cost may be same, but they charge different prices for different customer bases. It is said price discrimination. The basis can they use for the price discrimination now: purchasing power. Sometimes it can be like this: for rich people they charge higher price for the same product, but the poor they can charge a small reduction. Like that, according to the purchasing power, they will decide different prices for the same product. Another base is the quantity they bought. According to the quantity they bought, they charge different prices. And also customers from different market conditions. It means that from different geographical areas, from different distances, they charge different prices. If the distance is higher, they charge higher price. If the distance is lower, they charge lower price, like that. So these are the bases they use to discriminate the price they charge. So what is better? What structure is better, the monopoly or perfect competition? We already discussed the perfect competition, therefore we can see what's happening here. If you look at the consumer surplus in these two types of structures, in a perfect competition, the demand curve is here, MC curve is here. So anyway, according to that, they charge this much of price. When you calculate the consumer surplus, you can see it is higher in the perfect competition than the monopoly. The monopoly structure, only few consumer surplus getting for the consumer, and producer surplus is there, and you can see there is a loss, the rectangle area in the pink color. But in perfect competition there is no such rectangular, because both parts is distributed among the consumer surplus, and the below part goes to the producer surplus. So no loss, because perfect competition is it's said to be the 100% better market structure. But in the monopoly structure, you can see there is a social loss in the market. What it is not distributed among consumer surplus or either producer surplus, it is a loss there. So that's why this is actually the comparison between the monopoly and the perfect competition structures. What you can understand is perfect competition is better than monopoly structure. Then we will see the monopolistic competition in the next part of the lecture.